doctor to graduate from Glasgow University, a name only known to historians of the suffragette movement nowadays, though she had once written a Fabian pamphlet on public health. Michael decided to take the files away by taxi and sift through them at leisure. But first, he called on the firm which had put the boxes out and asked permission. It was denied. A senior partner, a well-known lawyer and local politician who will not be named here, told Michael that his look through the files had been a criminal act since they were not his property and intended for the municipal incinerator. He said every lawyer was sworn to keep a client's business private, whether the lawyer inherited the business or not, and whether the client lived or died. He said that the only way to keep old business private was to destroy proof that it had happened, and if Michael Donnelly saved any part of the heap from destruction, he would be charged with robbery. So Michael left the heap as it was, except for a small item he had casually pocketed before learning that this was a crime. It was a sealed packet inscribed with these words in faded brown ink: Estate of Victoria McCandless, M.D., for the attention of her eldest grandchild or surviving descendant after August 1974, not to be opened earlier. A recent hand using a modern ballpoint pen had scribbled a zigzag line through this, and this underneath: No surviving descendants. The seal of the packet had been broken at one end and the paper torn open, but whoever did so had found the book and letter inside so uninteresting that they had thrust them carelessly back. Both protruded, and the letter was crumpled, not folded. The arch-thief Donnelly examined this closely in the People's Palace store during a tea break. The book was 7 1/4 by 4.5 inches, and bound in black cloth with a grotesque ornament stamped on the batters. On the flyleaf, someone had scribbled a sentimental verse. On the title page, this was printed: Episodes from the early life of a Scottish public health officer. Archibald McCandless, M.D. Etchings by William Strang, Glasgow. Published for the author by Robert McElhose and Company. Printers to the University, 1909. This was not an encouraging title. Many shallow, gossipy books were published in those days with names like Leaves from an Inspector's Log and The Opinions and Prejudices of Frank Clark, Barrister. When the author paid the publisher for them, as here, such books were usually duller than those for which the publisher paid the author. Turning to the first chapter, Michael saw a typical heading of the period. Chapter the first: My Mother, My Father, Glasgow University and Early Struggles. Portrait of a Professor, a Financial Proposal, Rejected, My First Microscope, and Equal Intelligence. What most interested Michael Donnelly were the Strang illustrations, all portraits. William Strang, 1859 to 1921, was a Scottish artist born in Dumbarton, who studied under Legros at the Slade School of Art, London. He is known nowadays for his engravings rather than paintings, and some of his best work went into book illustration. A doctor who could pay Strang to etch pictures for a privately printed book must have had a larger income than most public health officers. Yet the Archibald McCandless, whose face was on the frontispiece, had not the look of a rich man or a doctor. The accompanying letter was even more perplexing. It was from Victoria McCandless, M.D., widow of the author, telling the descendant, who never existed, that the book was full of lies. Here is part of it. By 1974, surviving members of the McCandless dynasty will have 2 grandfathers or 4 great-grandfathers and will easily laugh at the aberration of one. I cannot laugh at this book. I shudder at it, and thank the life force that my late husband had just this single copy printed and bound. I have burned the original manuscript, and would have burned this too, as he suggests, but alas, it is almost the only evidence left that the poor fool existed. He also paid a small fortune for it. I do not care what posterity thinks of it, as long as nobody now living connects it with me. Michael saw that both book and letter might repay closer attention, so put them with other material to be concentrated on when he had time. And there they lay. That afternoon he learned that Glasgow University's old theological college was being cleared out for renovation by a firm of property developers. It is now luxury flats. Michael found it contained over a dozen large framed oil paintings of 18th and 19th century Scots clergy, and these too would have burned in the municipal incinerator at Dosham Park.